G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's go down under adventures. Today's episode, I'm going to be showing you what I'm doing on the kayak. This is the electronic side of it. I've already made a start this morning. I thought I'd better charge the GoPros and make some videos for you and show you what we're doing. But yeah, so far I'm starting to run the wiring for the PWM. I've made myself a distribution board for obviously the power that goes out of the battery. I'm starting to put the lights in it. So yeah, let's get stuck in. I'll show you where we're at right now. If you've seen the other video about me plans for the PWM to mount it in a kayak down in the hull, I actually changed my mind. I've gone for this control box. I just got it from JCar. And the plan is the PWM sits inside of it like that. And then the second control box that I have, which will actually be, this one's sealed as well. They're both watertight, IP65 rating. This one will sit on top of the lid, like so. And that'll have all my switches in here, my control for the motor, the display of the drive, and the potentiometer dial for the speed of the trolley motor. The three switches down the side here. And if I've got enough room, I'm also going to put a battery gauge or a load meter in here. I'm not sure yet. Figure that out. Maybe a USB plug on the side, because now that I've put, the original plan was to mount that down like that, but now I've had to mount the PWM. It'll be raised up slightly, which means I've got more room inside here to put some more electronics. But anyway, let's see what we've done here. So this is just a box from JCar, just a I can't remember the name, a control box sort of thing. Drilled the hole for all my cables to come up. Obviously you've got EVA foam on the side here. I've drilled through that, then through the hull of the kayak, 50mm hole saw. The two sides here, they're actually spade bits, just so I've got a bit extra room, just so the cables to move, because I'll have four rather large cables come up the side. Where did I put that one? Probably on the floor. Yep, there it is. So this is 40 amp, I can't remember the gauge of it, but that's the thicker cable that's going to run from the battery to the PWM, and then out of the PWM up the front of the Anderson plugs to power the motor. There will be 3 other switches in this box. I showed you in the other video. Don't mind the mess. These little LED push button switches, on, off, they'll have a little blue LED light around them. They're obviously going to sit in the top of this black box for my deck lights, navigation lights, and the third one I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the third one yet, but we'll get there. So yeah, the plan with this was line it all up this morning, actually set out my screw holes first. These are actually bolts. They're from, I actually got them from BCF. So there's a nut under the back of these two, this one here, they have nuts on them, and the front two are just countersunk screws. I only put them in once. I pre-drilled the holes, lined them all up, and then before actually mounting the box, you don't want to take them in and out, the self-tappers, you don't want to take them in and out too many times, because you'll end up stripping the thread you put in the plastic. So I basically lined it up, got it all ready to go, made sure it was 100%, measure 3 times, cut once, and then cut the hole, pulled it off, and I actually put some marine grade silicone all around the EVA foam, because EVA foam will work like a gasket. It is kind of soft. So, but yeah, then put the silicone around that, then screw these down by hand so I didn't cross thread them with the drill. Now you see this hole here at the back, this is actually for my kill switch. Goes in like that, and if you can see that down there, locks against the plastic. I've got to put some silicone on that. Put the nut on. I was going to have it out this side, but I thought I don't want to knock it, so I'll have it out this side. You see there's the PWM, sits in snug. Actually I was surprised at how well it fit between the 2 bolt holes there. So that's yeah, that's the PWM snug in there. You can see the hole's a bit over here, but that's okay, a bit more room for the cables to come up. That will wire into the clockwise, counterclockwise switch, forward reverse switch, that'll wire into that. Once I get there, now the lights, we started installing the deck lights, which are these just these Bullet Eagle Eye LEDs. I've got 2 blue lights to go up the front. One on that side, one on this side. And I've got 2 white lights at the back. One there, one on that side over there. Same thing, they'll just shine through here, light up both tackle trays on this side, shine under the seat for my storage. And obviously the blue ones, I don't want bright white ones for obviously night and morning fishing, so the blue ones are just a duller sort of light just to light up the deck area. Now the distribution board that I've made, this is just a piece of acrylic. I got that from JK as well. I don't know if you can see that. I'll put it down there, look, there you go. So it's just a piece of acrylic. It's got 2, it's not bus bars, distribution posts on them. They're insulated plastic. This is why I went with acrylic as well, just to stop. Didn't want metal in there, just in case anything arced out. Just try and keep it all insulated. So the acrylics, they're screwed to that. Obviously positive will come from the battery into this. Then it will be positive out to a 40 amp fuse. That'll then go to the PWM. That will then go from out the PWM to the motor. Out of the positive side again, I'll go to this fuse relay here. This fuse block. Positive in that side. 6 fuses. I won't need 6. I might use them, but basically it'll be deck lights, navigation lights, and my USB power points that are going to be up the front later on. I'll show you how that goes in. So, as you see, the 2 holes at the top. I should have got a different colour piece of acrylic, but basically there's 2 studs there. You can see up the top, 1, 2. They come through from this side of the hole, right the way down behind the seat. Now the reason why I went for this location is I will be putting a slimline lithium battery in here, and you can see these little moulds of plastic here. Those screws, the heads actually sit behind them, so the batteries in here snug fit against them. They won't be fouling and rubbing on them screws. Got 2 washers, lock washers on the inside, and then they just put nuts in there. It is designed to sit against the floor of the kayak, so it's not actually hanging off the screws itself. They're just a mounting. It will sit in the hole. I have rounded the edges so it actually sits snug down there. And the lights, once I screw these in, I'm just going to put a little bit of silicone around the back of them, and they just thread in like so. So for them it was a 9mm drill bit. Just gently through the plastic, and then you can actually make a start with them by hand. And obviously I haven't screwed them all in. Like I said, I'm going to put a bit of silicone behind them, make sure they're watertight, and then thread them in all the way by hand. They cut their own thread. Up the front here, the blue ones, I've had to hook extension wires on. Obviously I can't get my hand this far forward up the hole, so I'm doing the process of doing that now. I've got me, you can see the little connectors there, which have a bit of solder in the middle, and they're supposed to be waterproof, with the little pieces of red glue. I twitch the wires together, heat them up with this little soldering iron. I've got a little turbo flame, like a little jet lighter, and then for extra security I'll be sliding heat shrink over that, and then heat shrinking that down as well. So yeah, that's where we're at so far. Good solid couple of hours in the garage this morning doing that. We're still going to, like I said, another video, I'm going to sort that out, put a panel on it. Yeah guys, that's where we're at so far. I'll do some more work on it, and I'll show you some more once we get progress and we start putting some wires in. Cheers guys. Alright guys, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how these waterproof connectors work. Pretty simple. Get your 2 wires. Obviously this is the wire off of the LED light. This is very, very thin and small. The smallest gauge wire I could get was 7.5 amp. 2 core, it's marine power cable. It comes in a 10 metre roll. But as you can see, the thickness between the wires, I don't know if you can see that one. It's that one's probably, I'd say, twice the size of that. So the cable I'm running to these can more than handle the amperage. They are a bit tricky to twist together. Basically twist your wires together like you would any other connection. Obviously slide your connector over first, and you can see in the middle of this connector there is solder. There's a little patch of solder right there. These 2 red markers are actually glue, so the solder melts and the glue melts, it holds it all together. It is a bit finicky with these smaller wires. Let's see if I can do it on camera for you. Basically, one of these little blowtorch things. Once again, just pour a lighter fluid, fill it up. Don't want to go too overboard, you don't want to start melting the wire. Do it evenly from both sides. You will see the solder start to melt through the cables, through that clear sleeve. And you see them, the little red, the glue starts to spread as well, so you know that you're getting a good seal. Just like that, hold it in place. They do go a bit soft, but give it a minute. Oh, you can see that end's a bit soft. Just sort of hold it nice and straight as you can. You can see, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but the solder's all melted through them wires. I can see the copper wire and I can see the tinned wire. There you go, that's nice and solid now. This obviously smaller cable is a bit too small for this, so I'm going over the top with heat shrink. Now you just want to make sure that's cool enough to slide your heat shrink over. Otherwise, if that's still warm and you put your heat shrink up against it, heat shrink will close and you won't be able to get it across the wire. So you can see the glue's melted. Just double checking it all around the back. Just on the back side here, I missed a bit. Got it. There you go. Alright, up goes your heat shrink. Obviously the heat shrink will go good around this cable because it's good size for it. Probably not around the black stuff on this end, but we'll see how we go. I'm happy with that. Yeah, like I said, obviously this wire's a bit of a smaller gauge for that larger heat shrink, but you gotta do what you gotta do. 2 wires, unfortunately, that's the sizes I got. Just hold it for a minute. That'll become firm. Sure, there you go, it's firm already. So yeah, now that's waterproof. I'm be confident for that to sit on the bottom of the hole, even if I get a bit of water in here. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna, yeah, I'm 100% confident with that. It's all sealed up in there. You can feel the glues like bound up onto the wire and the cable there. So yeah, that's how you do these little wire connections. Just got different colours of them as well in the pack that I got. Obviously red ones, your blue ones, your yellow ones. Obviously you know when you use electrical connectors, your different sizes. Your yellow ones are for fatter cables, your blues in the middle, and your red is your real fine little cables. So yeah, I'm just using the red ones on this. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna keep going. I'll do some more connections, put some lights, finish the lights off, hook it all up, and I'll show you the switches once we start getting this box put back together. Just waiting for the silicone to dry. Cheers guys. Alright guys, as you can see, that's the lid of the box that has the PWM in it. The hole I drilled through Kayak. This box will have the lid on it for all the switches and controls. This one I've drilled a larger hole in and put the bolts through from the other side so they don't hang down, so there's no way of them fouling on any power leads. The nuts will go from the top. There'll be silicone between the 2 lids. I'll bolt them together. I'm just going to show you the dead man switch or the kill switch. That's installed, clip's ready to go. Lid goes on like that. 3 holes for my switches ready to go. And I'm just going to show you how to put these switches in. So these LED push button switches, as you can see, LED light push on, push off. I'm pretty sure they're aluminium, not stainless, but anyway, comes with an O-ring. Already drilled the holes. Put your O-ring around your switch. slide it all the way to the top. There is a little recess at the top of the threads. It's all up the top there. Maybe your lid. Now these are 16mm switches, so it was a 16mm spade bit I used. Push the switch through. Hit the nut. And you just snug it up. I don't know if you can see in there, you probably won't be able to see it. Just till that O-ring pinches out. Pinches out evenly all the way around. Probably won't be able to see it, but it pinches out all the way around the inside of that. Nice and snug. It's only an O-ring, so finger tight will do, you don't want to split it. Switch. Along comes your plug. On the back. Like that. Obviously once I feed the cables down inside, you're starting to get the idea. So that's my lights. One push on, push off. I'm going to have it wide so that with the LED ring around the light is on, whatever accessory that's hooked up to, that will be on. So if the LED's off, that accessory is off. Just like that. I'm going to start marking out the rest of the toggle switch, the display and the dial. Obviously toggle switch will go there. The display I'll probably put here, and the dial I'll put there. I don't know which way around I'm going to put them yet. I'll figure that bit out in a minute. Alright, a bit more progress on the yak now. Just putting the glands in. Power for the actual battery. It comes out of the hole on the battery box there. You see there's positive and a negative. I'm just going to run you through how these glands actually work. So I drilled a hole in the hull. This is a larger version of one of them, just so you can see it on the camera. Basically, threaded section goes through the hull. Drill your hole. There's a washer on it. Basically that goes into the hole. I put silicone around mine just as added protection. You do the nut up from the back on the inside of the hull. And then where the cable comes through, on here, you see that's where it bites down in there. The little fingers, the rubber seal, and the end cap. So it's a little bit finicky. Let's see if I can do it with one hand for you. Once you get your rubber seal, just work it back in like that. Pull a bit of cable out. Screw your cap on. Don't do it up too tight, just want to put a bit of tension on it. Pull as much cable out as you need. You just tension that up. Do that up tight. A bit of a nip with a pair of pliers because it's plastic, obviously, you don't want to get too overboard. And yeah, that'll be, that's how you seal your gland up. I'll give you a look at the power distribution board if you can see down in there. Obviously that's the positive coming in. They didn't have any of these, they only sell them in red, which is weird, but anyway. So that's your positive. Feeds the the 45 amp fuse that runs down the side up to the PWM controller. Also feeds my fuse block, which is going to feed all my lights, USB nav lights. That's just your common earth plug, which will run directly from the battery, and I'll run all my common earths back to that one. So yeah, that's the progress so far. All the lights are in. They're all in, siliconed up, snugged up nice and tight. I drilled the hole a little bit small in the actual bolt so I could thread it. Just these two here, I couldn't get the nuts on the back. You see that one there. Bit more progress on this as well, running wires up to it. It's all mounted in, got the lid all over there with the lights on it. It's all siliconed, sealed together now, bolted together. So that can go on. Yeah, we'll keep going and I'll do some more videos once it's done. Alright guys, that's day one. Finish on the kayak. Some bloody hot, tiring day today. I put in a big effort on it. I'm going to give you just a quick run over. You're seeing this video, start to finish. This will be part one. Obviously it's going to take me a couple of days to do this, so there's probably be two parts. maybe even 3. Just the third video will be everything finished. Yeah, I'll show you what we did today, and then I'll shut the roller door. Everything's all packed up now, and I'll turn the lights off and I'll actually show you the lights because they're finished. They're not hooked up to the battery. I haven't got the battery yet, but I can test them off a smaller battery I've got here. So yeah, anyway, like I said, that's all the box wired up. Kill switch is in. The lid, the control box, the lid for the controls to go on. Pretty much ready to go. The switches are going in. I've marked out the holes at the front. One over there, one over this side for the Anderson plug, waterproof holders to go in with the lids on them. I've not sure I'm going to cut them out yet. I've got an idea. I might have to use the Dremel, but I have had an idea from another friend on one of the Facebook groups I've seen, and actually I've got an idea off of YouTube about when you repair these kayaks, you heat them up. Obviously plastic welding, HDPE, and there was a bloke in America. He was cutting out a small square hole. I mean, obviously if it's a circle you use a drill bit or a spade bit, but I've got to cut a square, sorry, a rectangle out on that side. And he was suggesting use a soldering iron or a hot knife. Obviously I'm not going to go all the way out to the line, you know, measure 3 times, cut once. So what I'll do is I'll cut it out on the inside of the lines with a soldering iron, hot knife. And then what I'll do is I'll tie it up and trim it all up with the edges with the Dremel. So I can get the Dremel in there, but I can't get the cutting blade in properly without cutting on an angle. So that's for the next video. We'll wire that up. We'll get the motor in. We'll get all that wired up. I've seen a few people commenting on a couple of my posts on a couple of the kayak pages here in Australia, asking a few different questions about which PWM I use and how I'm going to mount my battery and what wires I've used and all of that. In the second video, or actually probably the third video when I'm finished, I'll put a list of all the gauges, the wiring, the codes, all the links, anything you guys want, just let us know. But basically the idea is the kayak trolling motor itself draws, I believe, a maximum of 35 amps. So to run to the distribution board, obviously I'll be running a sounder, which will be a Lawrence Elite FS9, plus my lights, plus my USB. So you have to add all the amperage up together. So 35 amps, you know, I believe these are 2 or 3 amp lights. So what you got, you know, you add that all together, say put that on a 10 amp fuse just to cover all bases. The nav lights, they'll be on a 15 amp fuse because obviously the navigation lights are brighter, they draw a bit more current. So you have to think when you put your battery in, what's the maximum amount of amps coming from the first set of cables, which will, you know, I add it all up, it comes to about 40, 45, 46 amps I believe it was. So I've got 50 amp cable to cover my bases. That runs unfused to the distribution board down here, and then from the distribution board it splits off 50 amp cable. I've used the same 50 amp cable in here just as insurance, but then out of the fuse it will be 40 amp cable to the trolling motor. It's a 45 amp fuse just to cover the bases once again. I probably should put a 40 amp fuse in there, I might do. 45, I've got 45 and a 40. Just for this, if it spikes amps, it's all protected. I don't want to melt nothing down. The PWM is a 60 amp continuous, so maximum current draw on that can spike to 60 amps, so that's got a bit of headroom over the motor. I'll never pull that much current through it. If I'm pulling that much current out of the motor, something's going to melt, so we'll actually pop the fuse first and protect it. So yeah, basically, and then you'll see I've run to the fuse block, obviously heavy duty cable as well, because the current draw from that's going to be pretty big. 10, 20, 35 amps. So 35 amps current draw maximum. I mean, I won't draw that much, but I might swap out one of the fuses to a 7.5 amp. But the 15 amps just for the sounder. The sounder is going to be running down. Oh, sorry, no, I'm not running the sounder off of this. I'm running something different for the sounder. So that will be navigation lights, deck lights, and USBs in that one. What's going to happen with the sounder itself? The sounder is actually going to run directly off of these 2 posts. So down that side of the hull of the kayak, and it will have the same connection. Anderson plugs this side as that side. So what will basically happen is the motor will plug into the Anderson plug, run from the PWM and be powered that way. If the PWM ever shorts out and I'm out in the water, as an emergency, what will happen is I'll have the sounder plugged in via Anderson as well, with 50 amp cables running from that back to them distribution posts. So then I can unplug the motor from this side if the PWM shorts out, plug it directly into that one, and I'll have constant power. Obviously the motor won't have speed control or nothing, it'll just be go forwards. I can have an emergency backup just to get back to shore, or at least get back closer to shore, or get myself out of trouble anyway. And then out of that, then I will have the fuse for the sounder, so the sounder's still protected. So yeah, that's where we're at so far. Today, I'll pull this roller door down, and I'll hook deck lights up, and I'll show you how we do them. I'll just sit his up there. Basically, these are the deck lights. You have to bear with me because I'm holding the cables on with one hand. So yeah, basically as you can see there, the white lights. Just a little eagle eye LEDs. Plenty and plenty of white light behind the seat. The two tackle trays are lit up. Under the seat, there's plenty of light there. Come around the front, obviously I've got light under the seat, so if I pull a drawer out, you see the shadow down there, there's plenty of light coming through. And then the blue lights, oh, bear with me here, sorry about that. You see the blue lights, they are actually, the camera does make them look brighter than what they actually are, but it's a duller white light than having that shining in your face. It is yeah, duller blue light, so just to, you know, keep the night vision, just to look cool. But I didn't want bright white lights up the deck. You know, I wanted to keep them a bit of vision in the early hours or the late evenings when I'm fishing. So yeah, basically you can see that's ample light. I mean, I'm standing right way back from the kayak, and that is lit up immensely with them 4 little lights. And like I said, they draw no current at all, hardly any current. I think they're 1-2 watts. They're not even 5 amps. So yeah, they're wicked little lights, I love them. So yeah, anyway, that's it guys. That's where we're at for part 1 of this video. Thanks for watching. Any questions or anything, chuck them in the comments below. I'll answer them all as quickly as I can. And yeah, part 2, we'll get the motor in and hopefully we'll have the battery here by then. I'll finish the top of the PWM and the battery box, the controller. And I'll show you a few little more tricks I've got up my sleeve just for lining stuff up and cutting into plastic and basically making it look like a proper job. Just a few people ask me as well, my background is actually light vehicle mechanics, so I have tickets in 12-volt electrical when it comes to cars. So this sort of stuff here is the same as 12-volt electrics. Marine technology's the same as cars. You know, you just got to think about waterproofing. That's the only difference. So yeah, I do have a bit of knowledge in the background of this, so yeah. Well, alright guys, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment if you want. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Let's go.